Hello, my name is Amanda and welcome back to the podcast. This is my second episode. I first want to thank everybody who has subscribed or liked my video. It is kind of a daunting task, like going about podcasting. I've actually filmed that first podcast so many times. I have filmed so many podcasts that I've just never posted online because I'm like, who really wants to listen to what I'm knitting? So thank you for everybody who has subscribed or liked my videos or commented. It does actually mean a lot and I read all of it. So, and I get kind of excited when I see the numbers tick up on the subscribers. So thank you again for that. So yeah, my name is Amanda. I am coming to you from a very chilly North Carolina, and winter is finally upon us. And I'm excited partially because I get to wear my sweaters, but then I'm also kind of sad because I'm a fair weather type of person. So always mixed feelings when winter comes around, especially when the sun starts setting so early and, you know, there's just not a lot of daylight left. So anyways, with that, go ahead and grab yourself a brew. Today I am drinking a cold brew tea by Twinings. I think it's like a mango flavor or something like that. But grab a brew of your choice, whether it be coffee, tea. If you like beer, go ahead and grab one of those too if you want. I'm not going to hold anything against anybody. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for our finished objects, I have this sweater that I'm wearing. So this is my Favo sweater. I finished this a week or two ago. And I love it. I'm happy it's done because I was really struggling getting those sleeves done as per usual, but these were especially trying because there was a lot of purling going on. So, and just the way that this pattern is, it kind of bothered my hands. So happy it's done, but really happy with the final product. I'll just stand up really quick so you can see it, but it kind of does like this nice like dip thing. It is sewn or seamed up the sides here, and then the shoulders are also seamed in. And then the back and front pieces are seamed together, which I did on the shoulder there. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. The only real modifications I made were, again, these bobbles, which I talked about in the last episode, but just kind of having them pop a little bit more. And then I did a double or a folded over collar. So I just like seamed it on the inside there just because I tend to like that look a little bit more where the collar kind of pops out. Or like a tubular bind off, but that to me takes more time than just knitting like a few more rows and sewing it down. So, and then of course, I think I talked about this, this cable. If I didn't, that is also a modification, which was accidental, but I ended up like cabling the wrong direction and I realized it about halfway through. So I just left it because I was like, well, it's all kind of, you know, everything's crossing the right way. So it's fine. Which I actually kind of like mine, so it's fine. Anyways, again, just talking about the yarn, this natural color is Hillside Farms. They don't have this, this specific blend anymore. I think they sold out, but it was a, I think Border Leicester and Icelandic blend together. And it's like a worsted weight yarn, basically in a natural colorway. And then held with it is like this orange strand of yarn, which you might be able to pick up on, but that is a strand of Mohair by Little Fox Fibers. And it's in the Mandarin orange colorway. And I bought the Mohair at Freeman's Creative in Durham. So yeah, happy it's done after a year and a half, like glad I get to wear it. To me, it's next to skin soft. Like I don't have anything, you know, between the sweater and my body. The only itchiness I really kind of notice is like up here around the neckline, but I just think that's probably a more sensitive area for some people. So yeah, I really like it. It's super warm and it's great for a day like today. So yep, Moving on, my second project is a finished object, but I'm going to do some surgery on the collar because I'm not super happy with how it turned out. But this is the winter sweater or Vinter sweater. And you might recognize it if you watch the Knitting Traditions podcast, because she also just, I think she either finished one or is working on one right now, but hers are in more autumnal colors, but she also knit this same colorway or this same pattern in the same colors last year in the fall, and that's where I kind of got my inspiration from. So I ordered this from the Moharia, which is where she picked up her kits. So the only modifications that I made to this, I talked about last time, were just the body. I added in any extra row that was for the extra large or large size. I added those into my pattern just because I have a really long torso. And I did it on the sleeves too. And then in addition, I also added this extra pattern repeat into the sleeves because normally you were just supposed to knit white straight up. I just added that repeat for the fun of it. Yeah, I think it looks fine. So, and then the only other thing is the sweater collar. I did it to pattern, but I am not happy with the way it turned out. So I'm going to rip it back, knit it on a little bit smaller needle, and possibly do a folded over collar on this one as well, because I just think it's like really squishy yarn. Why not? So yeah, I hope that it blocks out a little bit bigger. So just for a little confessions corner here, I don't swatch at all. I just don't do it, and I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. That has burned me in the past. Like I've had to knit out complete colorwork yokes basically because they didn't fit, but oh well, like one day I'm sure I'll learn, maybe not, but yeah, so I didn't swatch and it is a little tight for me, but given that it's a mohair yarn, it's like mohair, a little bit of wool, and I think a little bit of nylon in there. So given the content, I'm hoping that it will stretch because I think there's only like 20 or 30% wool in there. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say really. I will, of course, link everything down below like I normally do because my memory is terrible. So the lady in the shop of Moharia came up with this pattern. So I think you can just reach out to her and either purchase the pattern or purchase the kit. I'm not sure exactly how she's selling everything because I purchased a kit with the pattern. So if you're interested in it, get in touch with her. Yeah, so on to whips. All right, so the first whip I want to show is one that I just casted on in between podcasts. So this is the Shift Cow by Andrea Mowry, and I am knitting mine out of handspun yarn, and I'm really loving it. I think after the last podcast where I was like, I don't really knit with my handspun, I was sort of inspired to go through all my handspun and try to find something that would go together, because I've been wanting to make this pattern, or kind of wanted to make a lot of her shifty patterns for a while now, ever since I started spinning yarn. So the first colorway that I am using is this wound up fiber art. So this is in the colorway Heartland. It's either 100% superwash merino or 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend. So better for socks probably, just because of that nylon content, but this is going to be a Christmas present for my mom, and she has a super sensitive neck, so she likes things that are like buttery soft. So I'm hoping that this will not irritate her. We will see. The next yarn that I'm using is this yarn. So this is Spiced Cider, and it is created by Elsie B. And this is 100% superwash BFL. So that's those two together. And then the third yarn I'm using is just a little mini bat that somebody gave me last year when I ordered from her. And this is Endless Roving. And has like these little, oh, you just got to see the sparkle, has like tiny little bits of pink sari. I think it's sari silk, but it also has pink like sparkle in there too, along with a little bit of like more muted, like either a light pink or a white silk. And yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna run out of this yarn because I only had like, I think 130 or 160 meters, and the pattern calls for well over 200 of each. But I really liked the way that they all kind of went together, because this one was in a very cool family while the other two were in a more warm family. So that's kind of all three of them together. So you can probably see I'm definitely gonna run out because I'm only like halfway through the pattern and I still have more to knit with that color. But let me get the right side out. But yeah, you can see like the grayish color here, and then the other two colors here. So I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. It's a fun pattern, really addictive to try to get like just another row. So hopefully by the time I podcast next time, I will be done with this. But yeah, it's really fun. It's nice to not be thinking about a pattern or like a chart for color work or something like that. With this, I don't really have to think too hard. I can kind of just go section by section and it's easy to memorize. For the next pattern I have, this is one that I did not show the last time, but I've been working on for a little bit of time. But this is the Green Mist sweater. And this is a Bohus pattern that was recreated. But these were really popular in like the 50s, really like the 40s through the, I think, end of the 60s was when they kind of tapered off. But yeah, I'm working on this currently, and I bought the kit from, oh goodness, her name starts with an S. She's really well known for in the Bohus like revival community, like of bringing back these beautiful sweater patterns. But anyway, she also raises Angora rabbits, and so this yarn is 50-50 merino and Angora with her own Angora rabbit hair. So the collar is going to be folded over at some point, so should be like less dark green showing at the very top. But I'm almost done with the color work. I'm on my last color, and then I move just into plain stockinette knitting, which is going to be just in this dark, it's a really, really dark green, almost black colorway. You can see it. Yeah, and the yarn is really lovely to work with. It doesn't have much of a bloom in the cake. You can kind of see, not super fuzzy. But once you start handling it, it really starts to bloom. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, it's wonderful and I'm really enjoying knitting with it. I'm just kind of taking my time on it because I want to enjoy the process, and there's a lot of different textured purl stitches like on the actual, within the color work. So I'm trying to make sure I don't make any mistakes. Next thing I have is this baby blanket. So this is Henry's blanket, and I think the last time I showed it, I was just above the white leaf portion there, and I am almost ready to start the next leaf portion. So yeah, this is out of Malabrigo Rios in the colorway Primavera, and the white yarn is just some bare white yarn that I had held with one strand of like a pinkish colored Lana Grossa mohair. Yeah, and then the only thing I have left to do after I finish the actual knitting of the blanket is to sew down a felted rabbit that will go in the center. So hopefully next time I will also have this one done. So many big plans, I have so many things. I will not have that Bohus sweater done, but I'm hoping to have this and the shift cowl done. And I think that's probably gonna be it by the next time I come on here, because I won't have that much time. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk about is my Bramble sweater, and I finished the whole body, so all I really have to do is steek the stitches for the neck and both sleeves here and here. And then I have to finish the sleeves and then knit the collar. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I might do like a short little video and put it up on Instagram of the steeking because I like to do that. But I think I'm going to needle felt the steek just a little bit because the yarn is like not as tacky as Jamieson and Smith or some of those other stickier yarns. This does have, I think, a long wool in it. I thought that there was Wensleydale in it. I could be wrong, but yeah, if there's any long wool in it, then you probably want to like try to needle felt it a little bit just to make sure it steeks. Or you could reinforce it with a crochet. I haven't decided what I want to do. I think the crochet reinforcement to me is going to be a little bit bulky because I'm already like steeking when I'm not supposed to be steeking because this is supposed to be knitted flat. So I'm kind of up in the air on whether I want to do that or not, but to be determined, I guess. So that is it for my Bramble sweater. And this is a pattern by Marie Wallen. It is in her Gentle book. And there's like a couple other patterns I really want to knit out of there too, like the Primrose sweater is one. And then there's Lupine socks that I want to knit out of there. I knit another pair of her socks. I actually have them right here. Yeah, I knit this pair of socks last year for Christmas. And these are the Nora Socks. Sorry, I'm flipping them inside out really quick. But these are the Nora Socks and they're gorgeous. I love, once I like bought her yarn and worked with it, which is what I did for these, like I was committed after that. But yeah, this is just a pattern that's sold on her website and it's not in any book or anything like that. And I don't think it's online either, which is kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to just buy the pattern and use stash yarn, but that wasn't the way that she operated. So I think I bought the whole kit for this last year. But on the plus side of that is I think I could have gotten 2 pairs of socks out of that kit. So there's always that. The bad thing about these socks is I had a bazillion ends. So I'm still working on the ends of these. I think I had the other sock done, but I kind of gave up over the summer because I was like, it's too warm to wear them anyways. Why would I weave in the ends? But yeah, I should get back to those so that I can wear them this winter and have like nice warm cozy feet. The only thing that I changed on these socks is I held a little tiny strand of nylon on the heel and the toe. So you probably won't even be able to really see it. Well, maybe it's kind of picking up, but that pinkish color that's in that natural yarn, that is the strand of nylon that I held. And that was just so that I could reinforce and add some strength to the heel and toe because those are typically the first areas to wear out, especially the toes on my socks. And given like how nice this yarn was, I was like, it'd be a shame to like be fixing these things like from the get-go. So I just went ahead and did that to help add some strength. Normally I'm not a huge fan of nylon. Like I definitely think it has its place and I think that's in socks typically because it does add that level of strength. So like it's always a balance on like, do you just knit everything without nylon and replace things more frequently and then that's wasteful? Or do you like add the nylon and replace them less frequently but then have plastic in the world? I don't know. So I went ahead and did that and I'm happy that I did because I think that they should wear a little bit better. And that's it for whips. The last thing that I have to show is some of my spinning. Ooh, actually, I have one more finished object and it is some weaving and I will get that in a second. But I'll go through some spinning projects really quick. So this is Pleasant Glow and this is a 100% Corriedale 3-ply yarn that I spun from Hello Yarn. And I won this in a giveaway that she did. She was doing like this crazy like big spin along last year and I was all for it. I was just like, these are my people. So I like won this and I finally got it spun up, which is nice. So happy with that one. And then this is wound up fiber art. And that's in the colorway Solace, and it's also 100% Corriedale, but it's a 2-ply. I don't know the yardage for any of these. I need to measure them out, but you can kind of see the difference in the way that the coloring happens between a 2-ply and a 3-ply. So the 3-ply is a little bit more muted. Yeah, I was just kind of experimenting because I haven't spun a ton of Corriedale, and I just wanted to see like how it would react in a 3-ply versus the 2-ply. So I've spun it, I think I've only spun it once before, no, maybe twice, because I bought a Corriedale fleece and I spun some of that. But I spun one Hello Yarn braid in the colorway Grumpy, which is 100% Corriedale. And I think I overspun it because it was extremely coarse and it wasn't as like light and fluffy as I spun these. So I'm glad to see that my spinning is improving a little bit, but I was kind of bummed out by the way I spun that because I thought I could have done a little bit better job. You know, once it's spun, you're kind of done. You're kind of stuck with what you have. So I gave that skein to my sister and she knit socks for somebody else. So I'm sure they'll hold up since they were spun, like overspun. So yeah. And then the last little skein I have is this tiny little mini skein from Inglenook Fibers. And that was part of the set that I showed the last time. So I'm not going to show that again, but it was part of the Tour de Fleece. I think it was the St. Michael's, Mount St. Michael's set. And this is 60% Pullworth and 40% silk. So yeah, this has been a challenge to spin. I've noticed that some of the silk kind of clumps together. So I'm kind of trying to work on balancing that out. I like challenges. I think they're really fun, and trying to figure out the best way to spin a yarn is really interesting. And so I've been kind of experimenting with some of the other braids to try to draft that a little bit better and make it more even, because I found that this one was a little bit uneven, like the way my spinning was, and you can kind of see that in the skein. So yeah, whereas like these to me are a lot more like even. And what I mean by even is like, you know, this little strand of yarn matches this little strand of yarn, you know, relatively speaking, in size and in like diameter. So yeah, I think that's really fun and interesting to try to work with different fibers and figure out the attributes of that breed stand out the best, or type of fiber, because this does have a lot of silk content in it, which you can kind of see by the way it drapes, whereas like Corriedale, you know, there's not as much drape, there's a little bit. And then with the 3-ply, you know, there's a little bit of drape in that as well, because they are a little bit longer wools, so they're going to have that attribute. But yeah, so that kind of wraps it up for the handspun yarns. No plans for them, of course. So they're just going to go with all the other handspun yarns and hang out for a while until I find some inspiration. All right, and then the last thing I have to show is a little bit of weaving that I did. So I made this scarf as a Christmas present. And it is just made out of scraps that I had, because I'm notoriously terrible about using the entire skein of anything. So I have tons and tons of scraps. So I was like, how can I use these like in a beautiful project? So I think weaving really does that well at accomplishing using up a lot of leftovers. And so for the warp, which is the up and down fibers, like these different colors that you see, I used some leftover Mad Tosh yarn, and I think it was Dreamweaver colorway. That's this light color here, here, and here. And then I used, I think that this dark blue color is a Life in the Long Grass fiber. I don't remember the colorway name for that though, but it was part of an Amba shawl that I knit. I think it was the Aria, so it should be on there. And then I also used Malabrigo, which is in here and on the edge here. And that was in the Arco Iris colorway. This is Malabrigo too. And I don't remember the colorway name off the top of my head, but it was like a navy blue with like a golden tan color. And then for the weft, which is the side-to-side portions, I used Malabrigo Candombre. I think I'm saying that right, but probably not, because I don't pronounce anything right, which my sister ridicules me for. But I use that for the entire weft. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I don't think the camera does the colorways justice really. I think it's actually been really hard to photograph, even in natural lighting. The Dreamweaver, like that light colored colorway, it doesn't pick up very well. This is probably actually the best I've seen it. It's like way back here, but yeah. And so I just did it. I wish it was a little bit longer. I'm not an experienced weaver, so I really don't have good knowledge on how long or short something should be as I'm warping my loom, but it still like covers the neck completely and you can kind of tuck it up and under. So generally speaking, I'm happy with it. It's been better than some of my other projects I've made. So yeah, and then I just sewed down the edges. And then I whip stitched it. I folded it over again and whip stitched it down with some of the scrap yarn that I had left over still. So kind of doubled down. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So if you like these videos, please press like and subscribe to the video. And if you want to see more, you can also press the notification button and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. So thank you again. It really means a lot to me that some of you are out there and watching my videos. I hope you like them. Enjoy your knitting until the next time. Thanks.